What sort of first comes to mind when you think about that season and the title, the grand final series against the Giants? Is there anything that really sticks to mind when you start thinking about it?
Uh, yeah, when I think of the 1995 team, in particular that final series, I believe we were down in the playing at North Melbourne's place, and it was halftime, and we really had a hard look at each other and said, it's not going to end this way. We really just mentally just said it's going to stop here. And that next 6 quarters, so if you take those 2 quarters of that next game and the next 4 quarters of the third game, um, probably the best 6 quarters of defense probably ever played consecutively in the NBL.
Was there anyone that led that conversation at halftime?
As I remember it, I mean, Vlahov was the captain, so he obviously had a lot to say. I feel like uh, Kerry Stokes may have been in the locker room at that stage. May have said a little something, but we literally we didn't need that. We had a collective feel right then and there. We are going to stop this.
Not only were you one game down in the grand final series, you were one game down in the quarterfinal series against Melbourne Tigers. Is that right?
Yeah, like frankly, I don't even remember that game, but what really, or that even that series, but what really stood out to me with the 1995 team, and I can remember saying this way back when, and we didn't win every game, but we won every game that mattered. That team just had a way of getting it done when they had to, and so we won the minor premiership, in the grand final championship, the preseason blitz thing they had in the beginning of the year. We won that, and we even won the Foxtel Cup the next year, if we are allowed to claim that one as well. So that was a team that just had a way, and we had great depth, so we never really relied on any one or two players.
It was a hell of a team, wasn't it? To have four players in the same side, I think it was the same starting five in that grand final series, end up getting their jerseys retired by the
Yeah,
club, and I think there's only sort of eight or nine all up. So
yeah,
it shows
yeah.
how impressive that team was. Did you know at the time how special that team was, or did it sort of take a while to sink in?
No, it felt pretty special. We most of us had been around long enough to know who we were playing with every day in practice. We knew who we were going up against. But yeah, you had four NBL Hall of Famers and that starting five, and then you had that next kind of those next generation of stars in Traher and Catalini and a couple of the other and Anthony Stewart was just a great benefit to have coming off the bench. We were good. We were deep and we were good.
And Andrew Vlahov, grand final series MVP, and he was in the All Star five as well. Can you tell us a little bit about his season and just his grand final series as well? Because yeah, you mentioned that he was one of the ones very vocal in that locker room at halftime of game two, and he obviously walked the walk as well after that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did, like I said, that those last 6 quarters of defense were unbelievable by that team, and we just shut guys down. And I think Vlahov decided he was going to take Chris Gent on, and Gent had NBA experience and had a great season all year, and we just shut him right down. And uh, Andrew, that was probably the pinnacle of his injury riddled career. Always seemed to be battling something, but he put it all together that particular season.
And to do it against your former team, who you obviously won a title with, what was that like? Did that add a bit of extra spice to the contest, or a bit? It would have been, I guess, quite a weird feeling.
Yeah, well, actually, it felt really good because um, we'd come close in '93, my first year with the Wildcats. Obviously, we lost that grand final to the Tigers, and then the North Melbourne Giants won it in '94. So they had been able to manage a championship before I did when coming once I came to Perth. So it was, yeah, we had to win that one. It would have been really hard to live with them winning two in a row and having to sit on the sidelines for another year waiting to get another crack at them. But it was definitely a sweet win.
Do you remember what changed from the losing grand final series to the winning one a couple of years later?
I really, I don't know. Like I said, I think we added some really nice depth in those guys. Catalini and Traher and Stewart. They were, um, all just a little bit better, a little bit less green, and they were really contributors going into that season.
And you won three titles all up. How did that one compare to the other two?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to, the first one, is probably always the sweetest. Now I had that '89 in with North Melbourne, but um, that '95 team, like I said, it that I would back that team against any team I ever saw in the NBL. And like I said, there was teams that won more games, and had better records. But that team, like I said, just found a way to win the games they had to win. And so I literally think that's the best team I ever saw play in the NBL. Um, and then the 2001 team, that was a special team as well, and that was, towards the end of my career. So I probably wasn't as big a impact as I had been in the previous two championships, but obviously special, and to get one in three different decades puts me in I guess, a small club of just a few players.
Did you ever expect to be staying in Perth so long? Like, you see a lot of imports come and go within, 1, 2, 3 years, but your longevity at the Wildcats, especially after starting at a different NBL club, that must have been pretty rare.
Yeah, it's there's a few of us who were able to stay around for a while, and at that stage, I still hadn't naturalized or become officially able to play as a naturalized player. I got that in '96, and that's what allowed me to play till I was 38 years old. Otherwise, it would have been kind of tough as an import to play that long, but it. Getting to Perth and realizing the success we'd had there, and just loving the place and Australian in general. It was obviously going to be home for a while.
And in terms of staying in touch with the players from that team, obviously there's guys all over the place now. You're obviously in the US. James Crawford's in the US. There's guys scattered around Australia, which obviously makes it tougher. But do you still stay in touch with a few?
Just from time to time, really not very often. I was able to make it out to Perth last year and catch up with some of the guys in person, and we'll exchange a few emails here and there. But yeah, it's I mean, 30 years, a lot of water under the bridge, and I've been all over the world since I left Perth, so it was hard to keep in touch as much as I probably would have liked, and I probably should do a better job of staying in touch with those guys because they were a very important part of what I was doing certainly at that time.
Do you think it may take an anniversary like this to get the group together, or at least get the group chatting together again?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is I did have a 30-year anniversary of my 1989 championship team in Melbourne. I went to Melbourne for that in 2019, just before COVID, and I got to catch up with quite a few guys I hadn't seen, and two of those guys had passed away just recently. Since then, so it was a good thing I got the opportunity to spend some time with them, and so I don't think any of us are getting that old, but um, I would like to catch up with that same crew again. It was a special group of guys.
Is it exciting that the current day stars will be wearing a 30-year anniversary jersey this year, and I guess a special nod to a really special team?
Yeah, I remember when they thought about making the switch to those uniforms, and it was kind of cool because they allowed the players to have some input as to what we wanted. We like the kind of the claw mark thing on the legs, and we didn't want it to be we sort of wanted it to be asymmetrical. It would be a little bit different. So it was I thought those uniforms were kind of cool. So it was kind of neat to see the new ones coming out, and it'll be kind of fun to have those back out on the court.
Are you excited to get a special delivery, hopefully in the next few days?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure I can fit into it, but yeah, that'll be fun.
Do you get a chance to watch any games from the US via a stream or via over
Yeah,
the internet or anything?
yeah, it's been really fun. It's neat. The last couple of years, we've been able to access just about any game we wanted to through ESPN streaming, and so it's been really fun to try and keep up as much as I can. Um, it I don't watch every game, but yeah, I try to keep some sort of feel on what's going on down there.
Any favorites or anyone who reminds you of yourself? Obviously, there's some pretty special players in this current team as well, with Bryce Cotton, a four-time NBL MVP, and obviously Jesse Wagstaff, the skipper who recently broke Ricky Grace's record
Yeah,
that don't think many thought was possible at one stage.
yeah, yeah. It's then obviously Damian Martin retiring and getting his hopefully he'll have his number up there soon. But Bryce Cotton is probably the best import uh, in the history of the league now. He just proves himself time and time and time again, and it was really unfortunate to see him go down earlier in the season. But hopefully he'll stay strong the rest of the way, and it probably helps some of the other guys get a little bit of extra time and try to work out some certain roles going forward.
Heritage Round, December 6th. The players get to wear the 30-year anniversary jerseys. Do you think that'll provide them a little bit of extra inspiration for a win over Illawarra?
Well, it should. It literally it should. I really believe the history of the club is something that even if you're new to the team, you should have some background, and it should mean something to you because it obviously it means something to us and others who were around during that time, and people who'd grown up and watched that team, and it so that like I said, that team had just had a knack, and when you put that uniform on, you got to believe. You got to believe there's a little bit of magic involved with it, and hopefully they'll be able to use that magic and get a win.
Perfect. Thanks, Scott. I was there back in the day as a kid, so it was yeah, that was an unreal grand final series. So yeah, amazing to be chatting to you all these years later.
Yeah, it's 30 years. It's something else. It's I just where does the time go? But yeah,
No,
61 years old. I'm actually nursing a torn hamstring, if you
no
believe that.
way.
Yeah, tore my hamstring about 2 weeks ago, and it's been
How'd
a
you manage
crazy
that?
year. And I had open heart surgery in January, so it's been quite a year. But yeah, I
How's
played
everything
golf.
going on the health front? You all good
Oh,
now?
yeah, really good. I mean, the hammy's still probably a couple of weeks away, but but yeah, I was playing golf and I thought, oh yeah, I'll go lift some weights right afterwards, thinking I was young again and didn't have to stretch, and went in there and was doing split squats of all things, and just pop. And I was it's been a long time since I felt an injury, and so I just
Far out.
fell down in just a heap on the garage floor.
Was it nice to see there was still so much love from Perth? There would have been a flood of messages from this side of the world when the news came through about your surgery.
Yeah, it was very touching. It like the whole thing was a quite a surprise. But it was just one bad valve. It's gone now, and the funny thing is knowing what I know now. When I look back at the previous couple of years, I just kept thinking I was out of shape. Hey, you got to get back in shape. And now knowing what I know now, I was like, well, yeah, the thing was only opening to 0.8 of a centimeter. It needs to be opening to 3 centimeters. So, I've been living like I live at the top of Everest with lack of oxygen. So now I get on my bike or do something, and it's amazing. The difference is amazing. So it's funny how you can be so much better after open heart surgery.
Ah, good. No, good to hear you're back on the mend, other than the hamstring anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah, I look forward to seeing you to rock the 30-year anniversary jersey. We got Andrew Vlahov, Martin Catalini, and Ricky Grace wearing them at Bendat the other week. So
awesome.
people were calling for them to get back in our starting five. So
Yeah, and now if there is some sort of get together or something planned, if it's just the end of the season gig or whatever it is, the quicker somebody can throw me possible dates, there's potential that I can get out there.
yeah, yep. Yeah, sounds good. I'll get onto our events manager and yeah,
yeah,
date for you.
I just need warning. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
I was out there in November last year, and I went back to Melbourne in April, no, June. And so I've been back a few times, but I've finally got my wife on board in terms of, it's really not that bad a trip. We can leave from either Honolulu or San Francisco. San Francisco to Melbourne direct was actually pretty easy.
Yeah.
You leave at midnight, so you sleep through the first bit of it. It was no big deal. So we
Yeah,
want
cool.
to
All
try
right,
and
I'll get on to our events manager and email is the best way to get onto you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right, perfect. All right,
good.
thanks, Scott. Appreciate you jumping on and reminiscing the 30-year anniversary.
Yeah, no problem. I talked to he was on that team, but I talked to Adam Caporn all the time. He's
Mm.
with the Washington Wizards now, but we were talking about the 95 team, and he was a little kid then, but he remembers it and enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, he's doing quite well. He's got a house, and his wife's from nearby here, so
Yeah,
uh,
nice.
we catch up quite often.
Do you get to many NBA games or anything?
Uh, I go to a couple, and I usually, and although we live closer to where the Warriors play, we've got a place in Arizona, so we go to the Suns games quite often. It just turns out to be easier. I know a couple people work at the center that they play at, so we're able to slip into suites from time to time.
Oh, very nice. That's best way to watch it if you're not on the sidelines.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, good on you, Scott. Appreciate your time, mate, and good to hear you're all going well over there.
Yeah, not a problem at all.